Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
To all our viewers tuning in today, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ask Huda. I'm your host, Fuad Muhammad. Today we're privileged to be joined by our dear and respected Islamic scholar, Dr. Mohamed Salah. Assalamu alaikum, Doctor, and it's a pleasure having you today on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Fuad. The pleasure is all mine.
Just a quick reminder of our telephone numbers, 00-202-38555, 248 or 249, and you can write to us at ask, that's ask, at huda.tv. Dr. Muhammad, we start off with Omar's question from Nigeria. He wants to know if a female student can hold or touch the Quran during her monthly cycle.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyihi wa Mustafa, Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. All praise due to Allah alone, we praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is a truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can show him guidance. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah alone, and I bear witness that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is His last messenger. With regards to touching the Quran, it is not permissible for a person to touch the Quran unless if he or she is in a state of complete purity. So if a woman is experiencing her menses, it is not permissible for her to touch the Quran with bare hands. We discussed before the dispute between the scholars with regards to the permissibility of reading the Quran during the menses for a woman. And we said, even though the vast majority of the scholars said women during their menses are not allowed to recite the Quran as an act of worship, but exempt out of that is a woman who is either teaching the Quran, or she is a student who is learning the Quran, or a woman who has memorized the Quran, and if she does not revise on a regular basis, she might forget. So lest that she will forget whatever she has memorized, it is permissible for them to revise, to teach, or to learn the regular classes, even though they are experiencing their menses, but that would not allow them to stay in the masjid or in the territory of the masjid, nor would it allow them to touch the Quran with bare hands. So what is the solution? Is to touch the Quran wearing gloves, and whenever, if you are not touching the Quran with a barrier, then while flipping the pages you can use an eraser or a pencil or something, but avoid touching the Quran with bare hands.
Okay, second question is quite a technical one. He says a person who's married to two women living in different cities, and he travels back and forth because sharing the time between the two wives. He wants to know, what does he do with his salah with regards to shortening it?
In order to answer this question, we have to give an intro with regards to the principles of jurisprudence. There's something called the effective cause. Why did Allah the Almighty give us this concession to allow us to shorten the prayer? Basically, the effective cause for shortening the prayer is traveling, journeying. So if somebody is traveling, the travel distance would allow him to shorten the prayer and skip fasting if he is traveling during any mandatory fasting, let's say such as during Ramadan. So if somebody is traveling, as long as you're traveling, you're allowed to shorten and combine the prayer. But once you reside in one place, and that's why if somebody, according to the vast majority of the fuqaha, if somebody resides 4 days or more, then he will be treated as a resident. Similarly, if somebody, after traveling a long distance, he reaches home, because this is where his wife and his family is living, and he has another place where he has another wife, lucky he. So in this condition, once he reaches his home, he would pray as full, as regular, because he is not traveling anymore. While if he is traveling in between the travel distance, he is allowed to shorten the prayer while traveling. But once he reaches home, because he has a wife and family here and a wife and family there, so he will pray on full or regular in both places, and Allah knows best.
Okay, we have Abu Hafaz from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum, brother, you're live and ask your questions, please. Brother Abu Hafaz, are you with us? Okay, we move to Brother Sai from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
Walaikum salam. How are you, brothers?
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. My question is regarding the end of times.
Okay.
Regarding the hadith of Tamim Dari, because he described in full about the Dajjal when he saw him. But I would like to know why he missed out on the eye. He didn't mention anything about the default in his eyes, like the other hadith say.
Okay.
And my second question is, when the Yajuj Majuj come out, will that be only like in one continent, one country, one area, or like the whole world?
Okay.
That's
Okay.
it. Thank you very much.
Barakallah feek, Brother Saif there from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Okay, Abu Hafaz is with us. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Brother Abu Hafaz, are you with us? Okay, we seem to have a technical problem there. Saud, she wants to know the hadith that says the best month for fasting after Ramadan is Rajab. She wants to know the authenticity of this hadith.
It is not an authentic hadith, and all the hadith which are narrated in regards to giving a priority or a certain virtues to fasting during the month of Rajab, other than the regular fasting through Mondays and Thursdays, and the 3 white days, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Any other hadith in this regard is either weak or fabricated. There is no sound hadith that specifies that fasting during the month of Rajab is of any superiority, and Allah knows best.
Okay, we have Sister Habiba from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I really appreciate the effort you are putting for all the people in this world.
Thank you.
I am one of them.
Thank you.
And I'd like to just suggest Tanzania is not being viewed, Huda. Tanzania is
Okay.
Africa.
Yeah.
Is not being viewed. I don't know what is the reason.
Okay.
I guess I know the reason. Well, it's simply financial reasons. If we have a budget that is several $1 billion, we'll be more than happy to cover the entire earth. But basically, it's a matter of cost and affordability. We cannot afford it, and that's why.
Okay, okay. That's Habib, Sister Habiba there from the UAE. Saud has another question. She says the ruling on a person who does not pray due to laziness. Is he considered to be a disbeliever?
With regards to the scholars who distinguish between those who abandon prayers, they said if somebody does not pray because he denies the prayer totally, then he is a disbeliever immediately. And he will be given 3 days to review his view, to try to refute any misconceptions, to explain to him that the prayer is the most important pillar of the deen after pronouncing the Shahada. And if somebody does not pray due to laziness, will be treated likewise, because he will be ordered to pray. That obviously if we're living under an Islamic umbrella and Muslim rule, where if somebody does not pray, will be taken to the court and he will be forced to pray. Prayer, brothers and sisters, is the most important pillar of the deen. Why is that? We all know that in the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, that is narrated by Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, that Islam is based and built on 5 pillars. The first is Shahadati an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, to testify that there is no God to be worshipped other than Allah, and Muhammad is his servant and messenger. And to establish the prayer, the 5 daily prayers. This is only the 5 daily prayers. More than that is voluntary, supererogatory. Then to pay the zakah and to perform hajj and to fast during the month of Ramadan. This is the order of some of the hadith. When we examine the 5 pillars of the deen, we realize that some of them are only financial, such as giving alms. And some of them are only bodily or physical, would require to exert a physical effort, such as the prayers. And some of them consist of both, financial and bodily, such as hajj. You need to pay money and you need to perform hajj by yourself. If somebody does not have the financial means and he is poor and broke, then he is exempt from the zakat. Perhaps he is eligible to be a zakah recipient. And if this is the case, then he is exempt from performing Hajj as well, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَمَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا أو مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا, if he can afford the means. And if somebody, in addition to being poor, is also physically sick and chronically ill, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. Then he does not have to fast during the month of Ramadan, rather there will be the fidya, feeding one miskin per each day that he or she does not fast. So zakah doesn't have to pay, fasting is exempt, Hajj is waived. What's left? Everybody says La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So the actual practical pillar of the deen which remains still with everybody, and nobody will be exempt from offering the prayer except women during their menses, is as-salah. And that's why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it very clear and explicit in various ahadith, and he said, Al-ahdu alladhi baynana wa baynahum as-salah, faman tarakaha faqad kafar. And look, there is, let me explain the meaning of the hadith first. He said that the difference between us and others, the non-Muslims, the disbelievers, is as-salah. So whoever does not pray has chosen to be a disbeliever. This is a statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Amongst his last statements, as-salat, as-salah, wa ma malakat aymanukum. So enjoin upon us as-salah, 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 and its importance. And you should not even postpone it nor delay it from its proper time. We find there is a great surah that's called Surah Al-Ma'un, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala threatens those who pray, but this kind of prayer. They pray sometimes, then they skip the prayer some other times. They pray occasionally. They pray on Fridays or on the Eid, or whenever there is a wedding in the masjid or the Islamic center, or if there is a funeral prayer. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns them by saying, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ. So woe to those who pray, but they are negligent of their prayer. They do not pray constantly. Similarly, woe to those who pray in order to show off. So brothers and sisters, no one can claim to be a Muslim if he or she does not pray on a regular basis. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, we have Sister Fatima from Bahrain. Assalamu alaikum. Sister, you're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam, Fatima. How are you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. How old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. May Allah bless you and your parents.
Ameen.
So what's
Thank
your
you.
question today, Fatima?
I have two questions.
Okay.
Can we play with dice?
Okay.
Did you get my question?
Yes.
I got it. I definitely did.
My second question, I want to buy one game which includes dice.
Okay.
Can I buy the game?
So that's actually one question, not two. But anyway, in order to answer your question, Fatima, you need to answer my question. Do you know who was called Fatima before you? A very famous person?
Yes, it's Prophet's daughter, I think. Prophet Muhammad's daughter.
Exactly. May Allah bless you. Okay, I will answer you inshallah because you answered the question rightly. Thank you, Fatima.
Okay, that's
welcome.
Sister
Wa
Fatima
alaikum
from
salam
Bahrain.
wa rahmatullah.
It's a pleasure having the young callers here. And it's actually her question. She asked it quite a while ago. She wants to know if she can buy a game that contains dice.
No, unfortunately, you can't. There are so many other games that they're lawful for us to play and to buy and to exchange as gifts. But dice, there is a specific prohibition with regards to holding dice or playing with dice because it's basically based on luck. And Islam requires one to work hard even in games, to exert an effort, so that when you win due to your intelligence, you win due to your effort, not due to mere luck. Whenever you throw the dice, you don't really know whether it will be 6, 4, or 1. You don't know. These are all guesses, and it's based on luck. The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever plays with dice, he has done such a great sin, similar to one who have immersed or moist his hands with the flesh and the blood of the swine or the pig. You don't want to do that, Fatima. Such an awful thing to contaminate your hands with the blood and the flesh of pigs. So if you play with dice, that is similar to contaminating your hands with such dirt. So we should avoid that. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of beautiful games around that you can buy instead of buying a game that have a dice. I hope this answer would also answer many of the adults who waste hours and hours on coffee shops here and there, especially in the Arabic countries, playing dice and say there is nothing wrong with it. It's a major sin because the Prophet ﷺ indicated a specific punishment for it.
Okay, we have Sister Mariam from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda. Questions, please.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sister Mariam.
Thank you for all the programs, mashallah. My question is about Taraweeh. Is Taraweeh, Tahajjud, Qiyamul Layl with all same prayer with different names? And if I prayed behind an Imam who's praying 21 rakah, that is for Taraweeh, am I doing bid'ah? And my second question, can a woman perform ablution at the time of menstruation, like to touch the Quran and during at the time of sleeping?
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Sister Mariam there from the UAE. We also have Brother Abdullah from the UAE as well. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Go ahead, Brother Abdullah, with your question.
Yes, sir. Sheikh, I have an urgent, this is very urgent. I just want to ask for permission if you can answer this question today. Because I have some non-Muslim. They are asking me to buy them a wedding ring. They want to get married, so they are asking me to buy their wedding ring. Is this allowed for a Muslim to provide such a thing for the non-Muslim?
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Brother Abdullah there from the UAE. Sister Amina from Canada, she wants to know to what extent should a wife obey her husband? Can he tell her what to eat? And she says, in her second question, it's actually the same thing. She wants to know, for example, if he forbids her from listening to a specific sheikh on the internet and she does, what's the sin?
Well, the Prophet ﷺ said in one hadith, if a woman offers her 5 daily prayers on a regular basis and fasts during the month of Ramadan, obeys her husband and protect her modesty or chastity, on the day of judgment it will be said to her, enter paradise from whichever gate you desire. Many people broadly misunderstand the concept of obeying the husband. And many husbands misuse this quality which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them. Obedience is not absolute. One who should be obeyed absolutely is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ وَأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنْكُمْ فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ إِن كُنتُمْ تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ وَأَحْسَنُ تَأْوِيلًا. Chapter An-Nisa. So obedience absolutely is for Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and for the Muslim rulers if they command us with whatever Allah and His Messenger have commanded and within our capacity. Even Allah's commands sometimes it is permitted for us to waive them if one is in certain conditions where he or she cannot afford to fulfill them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. And He said, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. So keep your duties to Allah as much as you can. And that's why He said to one who cannot stand up while praying, while standing is a rukn, is a pillar, and it is required for the validity of the prayer, sit down if you can. And if you can pray while lying down. And He said to one who's traveling, you don't have to fast. And for one who's sick or breastfeeding, you don't have to fast. You can make it up some other time, etc. So if a husband wants to be obeyed, then he should only order or ask his wife to do something that is in line with the or in compliance with the guidance of the Quran and the Sunnah. Does not order her to do anything that is prohibited or disliked. Number 2, within her capacity. And I guess when some husbands abuse this by ordering their wives not to speak to their parents, not to visit with them, not to answer their phones, they're committing a big sin. They're disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who ordered us to be kind to our relatives, to our parents, and to hold the ties of our kinship. But there are certain areas where really you have to ask the husband why did you say you should not be doing that? Because you just asked a question, one of those questions. She said that he ordered her not to listen to certain speakers on the internet. Is there a reason? I'm sure it will be best for you to ask him and explain what is the reason. Perhaps he knows that this sheikh, there are a lot of sayings about him, or maybe he answered questions pertaining to Aqidah in a wrong way or whatever. But it is not a dictatorship. It is not for the husband to say, do as you're commanded and you are not allowed to discuss. That is not in Islam. And when Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, who was born and raised in Mecca, which was a very tough place, and when they treated their wives, a wife would not have any say at all. So one day, his wife was arguing with him. He said, are you arguing with me? Are you discussing with me a command of mine? She said, why not? If the Prophet ﷺ allows his wives to discuss and argue with him, and either he would convince them or they would convince him, why not with you? So Umar ibn Khattab had his daughter who was married to the Prophet ﷺ, Hafsa, may Allah be pleased with her. So he ran to her and he said, do you guys do that with the Prophet ﷺ? She said, yes, we do. So if this is the Prophet ﷺ who would allow his wives to ask questions, and he would have to present reasonable answers, or explain to them why yes, why not, things like that, then it is more worthy for his followers to follow his footsteps, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, especially when he said, خيركم, the best of all of you, خيركم لأهله, are those who are good to their wives, وأنا خيركم لأهلي. And then he remarked saying, and I am the best to my family, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the relationship between the couple should not be based on that there is a dictator and there are servants or maids at home. No, it's a matter of وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Amongst his signs that he created for yourselves, from amongst yourselves, spouses, in order to find repose in them. And what are the elements which will secure this repose and make it happen? وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Mawaddatan wa rahmah. There are two different things, but they would pour by the end into creating repose, love, mercy, and compassion.
Okay, we have Sister Maryam from the United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum, Sister. You're live and ask.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, I would like to ask, due to I have a sister working also here in United Arab Emirates, but her madam complaining with me that because she embraced Islam last January, and then the housemaid found out that she do a sign of the cross because she is a Christian before. Then because she is my own sister, then her madam complaining with me, why Mariam, your sister like this? I tell her, madam, I already give all my books that I studied before in Islamic Center in Philippines. And then I tell her, oh, what I know is I teach her step by step. And also doing salat. The one, because I heard, because her madam tell me that it's better she remove her hijab and abaya to make it, she do only for that she make a religion. So what should I do for my sister, brother, so that she will not feel angry, and even me, to make it clear to her what is the importance of religion for her.
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Sister Maryam there from the UAE. We also have Brother Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live and ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, I wanted to ask about witr. Sometimes, usually I wake up for tahajjud and pray my witr. But sometimes what happens is I don't wake up. So, I miss my witr. Is it permissible that I pray my witr in Isha, and if I wake up for my tahajjud?
Got it. Jazakallah khair, Brother Muhammad there from the UAE. Brother Muzammil from the UAE, he says his friend bought a car on an interest-based loan from the bank. However, he's traveling for a few months and he would like to borrow the car from his friend on the condition that he would pay the rent as the monthly installment to the bank. He wants to know if this is permissible to do.
Okay, if somebody purchased a car, a vehicle, or a building with a loan that he took and a mortgage from the bank, interest based. This is haram. Now I am a third party who's renting the place or the vehicle from him, and I'm paying for my usage. That is permissible. I'm not responsible for the first contract that the person have concluded with the bank or whatever. Or otherwise, you know what, I would not find a single person to deal with. So it's as simple as that. كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة. You will be only responsible for yourself and your dealings. You are paying for a certain time that you are renting the vehicle from him. You give him the money and he's free to pay the installment or to do whatever to do with it, and you're not responsible for his very first transaction. Wallahu a'lam. There was one brother who wanted to answer his question during this episode.
Brother Abdullah,
marriage.
Brother Abdullah, from you, he wants to know if he can help some non-Muslims in buying a wedding ring for them.
Help some non-Muslims for buying a wedding ring for them. I was under the impression that he is marrying a non-Muslim and it was a condition.
No,
because in Islam we don't have the wedding ring. This is a Christian habit. Okay? Rather we have the dowry. The Quran stated that the dowry is the right for the bride.
Yeah.
It is not the right for her guardian, for her family, or for the groom. It is for her. And it's got to be paid by the husband or the groom. So it could be some jewel, it could be clothes, it could be cash, it could be a living place or whatever. So if you want to assist somebody who is not Muslim in getting married and support them financially in order to get married because they're poor, that's a good cause, but it should not be done from the zakah fund, rather from the voluntary charity. And they're free to do whatever they want to do with it as long as it is permissible in their faith. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, we have Brother Idris from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I want to know up to what time can one fast during the month of Sha'ban?
Okay.
Voluntary fasting.
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Brother Idris there from Nigeria. Yes, Sister Safiya, she says she wants to know if someone recites an extra surah with Surah Al-Fatiha in the third or fourth rak'ah, what should that person do in order to
If the person does that out of forgetfulness, there is no blame on him. And by the way, it was done a few times by the Prophet ﷺ that he recited in the third rak'ah or the fourth after in Dhuhr prayer. So if the person did that undeliberately, then his prayer is valid and he does not owe any sujood of sahw.
Okay, Brother Yusuf from Egypt, he wants to know which is the best country to make hijrah to.
I wish you can ask, we can all ask somebody who knows where we can make hijrah to the same place. Personally, it's my dream to live and die in the city of the Prophet ﷺ. But I don't know if it is that easy and accessible, because it is not as easy as we read in the books that the Prophet ﷺ migrated from Mecca to Al-Madinah, and similarly the Sahaba came from Al-Habash to Al-Madinah, and so on. Nowadays, a lot of logistics are included and involved, and financial support, in finding a job, and finding a place to live in. And it is not that once you move, you can just settle there forever. It's a matter of residency and visas. So if you can find a way where you can just move and live in Al-Madinah, that would be the best choice. I'm making a call right now and I'm raising my hands and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before anybody else. It is my dream to move, to live and die in Al-Madinah. And why not? Why the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if you can live and die in Al-Madinah, do so, because I will intercede for those who will die in the city of the Prophet ﷺ, in Al-Madinah. Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara is one of two places in which the false Messiah would not dare to enter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will appoint angels to guard the city of the Prophet ﷺ and Mecca from their borders, so that the false Messiah would enter every city and village on earth except Mecca wal Medina. And why did I say Al-Madinah, not Mecca? Of course, Mecca is the most sacred place on earth. But I said Al-Madinah where it would not be that crowded, especially during Hajj season and in Ramadan. It's more spacious, where you can also study and find shuyukh and scholars to attend the hilaq in order to seek religious knowledge. Because basically, one of the main purposes of hijrah is to seek knowledge. It's not just to live, to move to some place where you end up eating and drinking and that's it. No, to improve your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have an opportunity to pray the 5 daily prayers if you can in the prophetic masjid. Not after time you get used to living there and you just abandon praying in the masjid totally. No, because you're making hijrah, you're making sacrifices. So when I said I wish somebody can come up and say, yes, this is a place where if you wish, you can make the decision right now, and we're opening our arms to receive you, and we'll provide you with whatever necessary needs. I wish that the day will come where it will be that easy, where Muslims can travel between the Muslim countries without any need for visas or residency.
Okay, we have Brother Muhammad from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, brother, you're live and ask Huda.
Sheikh, I would like to ask about the hadith of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that the most beloved fasting to Allah Azza wa Jalla, I think the Prophet was the Prophet Dawood, and to fast day and to break a day by day.
Yeah.
Can't really.
It's a sound hadith. What about it?
Yes, I would like to know if it's authentic or not. Sheikh.
It is authentic. It is authentic. Yes, in which the Prophet ﷺ was addressing Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. May Allah be pleased with him. When he heard that Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As was such a great righteous worshipper, that he used to fast on every single day and he used to pray all night long. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam reviewed him in this regard, to the extent that he abandoned his newly married wife. When he got married newly, he ignored her because he was in ibadah day and night. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he heard about that, he asked him to fast Mondays and Thursdays and 3 days of every month. He said, I can afford to do more than that. He said, well, then the maximum you can do is to fast on every other day. That is the best fasting for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the best fasting, the fasting of Prophet David. أحب الصيام عند الله صيام داود عليه السلام. He used to fast on every other day.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Doctor. We'll take a short break here on Ask